So today I want to talk to you about something that might feel a little radical, maybe a little uncomfortable, maybe out of the box, especially in a time where the world feels heavy, chaotic, and overwhelming. And what I want to talk about is pleasure. Yes, you know, you're at Insights with Monique. You know I talk about pleasure, but today I want to talk about why it's so important to pay attention to your pleasure, especially in the time that we're living in right now. But before I dive in, I want you to know about the new course that I have called the Pleasure Codes. And if you are somebody who already knows that you want to get deeper into your sensuality, you want to connect to your body, and you are ready to step into your pleasure and heal shame through nervous system realignment, go check it out. Click the link below, the Pleasure Codes. Now, let's dive in and get into why pleasure is so important. It can feel like pleasure is the last thing you should be thinking about. It could be feeling like this is indulgent, this is inappropriate, this is something that I shouldn't even be considering. The world is on fire. Why would I think about pleasure? But here's the truth, and I want you to really hear this. Pleasure is not the opposite of responsibility. It makes your nervous system resilient enough to hold responsibility. Let that sink in. Pleasure is not the opposite of responsibility. It's what makes your nervous system resilient enough to hold responsibility. Yes, that's a really different idea of pleasure. And according to the polyvagal theory, okay, our nervous system is constantly scanning for safety. When we're overwhelmed by maybe stress, social injustices, climate anxiety, or simply the pressures of everyday life, we slip into that survival brain, right? We go into fight, flight, freeze. We go into the oldest part of our brain. But pleasure actually helps us regulate. Pleasure brings us back to our parasympathetic nervous system. When we're in our survival brain, we are in the sympathetic nervous system. We are in survival. We got to figure this out to survive. What happens is when we cultivate pleasure, it brings us back into our parasympathetic. It's our rest state. And this is our rest, digest, connect mode. It reminds our bodies that safety and softness are possible even among the chaos, okay? You can feel safe inside yourself even in the chaotic world, because pleasure isn't just sexual. We got to take out the sex and pleasure connection, right? It's part of sex, but it's not all of what we're here to do. Pleasure is sensual. It's embodied. It's the feeling of the warm tea on your hands, the rhythm of your breath, right? The way your hips move to music that feels so yummy and good, or the way you sing a song and you belt it at the top of your lungs. It's the way your body whispers to you, I'm alive. And that's important, because when we're connected to that aliveness, we're no longer living in this reaction to the world, right? We're no longer living in that survival brain. We're rooted in our power. We're rooted in our own safety, our own knowing, our own rhythm. And this is especially true for women. So ladies out there, I want to talk to you right now. We've inherited generations of conditioning that have told us that pleasure is selfish, that it's shameful or earned. Only after we've hustled enough that we can get it, but like we're exhausted by that point, right? But the research actually shows that women who engage in regular sensual practices, whether it's through movement, breath work, or mindful touch, right, our pleasure practices, they experience lower levels of cortisol, which is the stress hormone. They improve your immune system and your immune function, and you have greater emotional resilience. That means that whatever's coming at you from all over the world, you can hold it in a new way. You are resilient to it. Pleasure makes us powerful. And right now, the world needs more powerful women stepping into their space, into their bodies, into their power. Because grounded women, sensual women, and women who know how to feel deeply without drowning in all of the chaos, the women who know to rest without guilt and to lead from embodied wisdom, those are the women who are getting called up to stand strong in this space, stand in our feminine, right? Stand in our pleasure. And that's another reason why I created the pleasure codes. So the pleasure codes is going to be this transformational online course that I kind of bring you through ways to where you regulate your nervous system. You learn how to regulate through sensual and body practices. You'll learn all the neuroscience behind why pleasure heals trauma and builds resilience. You'll learn how to release shame that's stored in our body, right? Because our bodies hold the shame and trauma. So we learn how to get rid of that, and how to awaken to your unique pleasure codes so that you can lead, create, and love from a place of wholeness, because that's what we're here to do. It's all about being heart-led, heart-centered. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, disconnected, or even numb, like you just can't feel at all, this isn't a time to abandon your body. This isn't the time to leave. It's the time to come home to your body, to reclaim your sensuality, to make pleasure the thing you protect, to make it your prayer, to make it your portal. That is the power of knowing what pleasure feels like in your body. It's bringing you back to that state of rest, connect, digest, okay? We need to be able to digest everything that's coming at us or that gets into our field. Maybe not everything, because we're not meant to digest everything, but things that come through, okay? We want to be resilient in our emotional capacity, and we do that through owning and reclaiming our sensuality and our pleasure and our capacity to hold more emotion. So if you're ready to start, if this sounds something that you're needing, if you want to feel confident, if you want to feel strong, if you want to feel even relaxed, and not so anxious, the pleasure codes is for you. Check it out. Click the link below. You'll get immediate access to the embodied tools, pleasure practices, and a whole new way of relating to your body and your power. Because pleasure is your birthright. You are in a body that is here to experience pleasure, that is designed to feel pleasure. So it's time to remember that. So if this is something that you're interested in and you want to learn more about sensuality, pleasure, and true liberation in your body, go to moniquegomez.com. Make sure when you're there, you sign up for the Raw newsletter, which is my weekly newsletter, and check out all the free tools, all the resources, and the pleasure codes. Just easy as a click away, right? You can start changing your shame cycles, your experience with your body right now. Until next time, my friends, stay curious and keep your heart in the center.